So right here, I think I had to start a new video because I ran out of storage space. So I was right in the middle of the sentence and boom, it cut out. So I apologize for that. I might have to make it a part 2 video, but I'm gonna try to edit it and make it all one video. But it just might take longer. So dang it, I wish that didn't happen. But let me continue on. So we're in the third wave. Right when I was on a roll too, it cut out. So we're in the middle of the third. So in the third wave, we need what? We need 5 waves. So look at this. We have, let me zoom in here. We already have 1 wave. So here's 1, 2, right? Here's 1, 2. And now we're in the middle of the third, right? And in the third of the third, right? So then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And that comes up and that finishes, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 3 of 3. Then you get a wave 4 of 3. Then you get wave 5 of 3. So the whole thing becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's wave 3. Then you get wave 4, right, of this broader wave. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that whole thing becomes wave 3, right? I don't know how high it's going to go. I just have it drawn there, right? So that's 1, 2, all of that's 3. Then you flag out for 4. Then you get 5. I don't know where 5 is going to go. The way I have it drawn here has it going up to $50. I drew it big so that we can see it. It might not be that high, right? It might not even be near that high. But the way I drawn it is just to show you, sort of the pattern here. Okay, so that's what it is. So then what does that mean? So then that means this whole thing is what? This whole thing is a 1, 2, all of this is 3, then here is 4, then this whole thing is 5. You see what I'm saying? There we go. This whole thing is 5, right? So yeah. So that's one count, and that's a very bullish count. Now, let's talk about another count. Watch this. We'll talk about another count. So that's the main sort of idea here, that we've been in wave 4, and it was a long wave 4, and that wave 4 was this massive range that we've been in forever, right? But remember, the bigger the base, the higher in space. So let's blast off, right? Let's hopefully blast off soon. Maybe it takes another month. Maybe it takes another year. I don't think so, right? I mean, there are bearish counts, but we're going to talk about, now we'll talk about the bearish count, and then we'll get into the bullish count. So there's 3 ideas here that I'm going to lay on you for the macro. So that was idea number 1. Here's the bear count, okay? Watch this. So I'll put this here, and I'll put this down here. So we're in a channel, right? We're in a channel. So we have boom, 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 and then we come back down to the bottom of the channel before blasting into space, right? It's still macro bullish, but we have to endure another maybe 6 months to a year of hell, which means this is not a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Instead, it's an A, B, right, or a WXY, right? So you have 3, 3. This could be another third wave, right? So WXY. So 1, 2, 3. And in the third, right, in number 3, you have 1, 2, 3. And then it goes. That's the bear count, ultra bear, which gets us below 17 cents maybe. I would say around 17 cents. That's the bearish count. That could totally happen. So you got to protect yourself. Maybe that's what happens, right? Maybe Bitcoin hits the 4.236 extension. It's all over. The bear market's here. Everything crashes. It's over. Then people would really give up, right? But then if that happened, then we would see a mega moonshot, right? And it would be a flag, right? So it would be sort of, here would be the count. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have a massive A or a WXY, right? And then you're going into the third. So this whole thing would be wave 1. This whole thing would be wave 2. And wave 2 is not even done yet. Then we go up for wave 3. And wave 3 would be mega, mega, mega. I think that would get us above $20 easily. So that's the bearish count. It does mean bullish later, but you would have to drop a significant amount to finish up this WXY. So WXY. So maybe that happens. Maybe it's the bearish count. So now that's two ideas. I presented two ideas. So now let's talk about the third idea. So here's the third idea. So this idea is a bullish idea. So we have 1, 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Okay, so that's a 5-wave move, which means what? Which means this whole thing is wave 1. Okay, so then we have sort of this A, B, C, sort of like a running flat type of thing. A, B, C, right there. That's a 3-wave move. And now that's wave 2. And now we're on the horizon of the biggest wave you've ever seen in your entire life. Which is what? Which is wave 3, potentially. Right? If that's look at the ice. If this was wave 1, can you imagine what wave 3 is going to look like dependent on this count? It might be the first count. It might be the second count. I don't know. But this is the third count. This is the most bullish count, if you ask me. Right? Because it's also bullish in price, but it's also bullish through time because we don't have that much time. Right? We're on a roll. So here's A, B, C. Running flat, wave 2. So now what? So now we're in the middle of wave 3, right? So where's wave 3 at? So we're in the middle of wave 3. So this whole thing right here is a 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh my God, that's bullish. So we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 1, 2, 1, 2. I want you to go to Google and I want you to type in 1, 2, 1, 2. Elliott wave bullish. Just type that in and you can read about it, right? Or type in what's the difference between a 1, 2, 1, 2 and a regular 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Elliott wave. And you'll read all about it, right? Extra, read all about it. So that could be the case, right? So let me take all it off the screen and I'll draw a more simple term, right? So if we're thinking about the third wave, then that means we're in the process of that first wave that we just potentially completed, right? So this is the first wave right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that whole thing is wave 1. That's a diagonal. This is a diagonal, some type of broadening wedge pattern, right? So if that's a diagonal, then you have 1, 2, 3 waves down, right? So you have a 5-wave move up and a 3-wave correction. That's bullish. And that was followed by a 1, 2. So I don't really like the 1, 2 because it looks 3-wave-ish. But if it's the weekly chart, so you can say the first one is maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 1, 2, and this is 3, 4, 5, right? But either way, you know, depending if this is the count, it's a 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is another 1, 2, and now we're about to enter a wave. We're basically in it now. We're in the third wave, right? We're in the first. No, we're in the. I mean, there you could see it both ways, but if this is the third wave, then you have 1, 2. Now we're in wave 3. I think wave 3 can really accelerate. Now, the problem is we have a lot of resistance up here. So I think we're going to get stopped along the way. But at the end of the day, it could take time. I mean, maybe, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't know the timing of it. Maybe this is not even the right count, right? You can look at it this way too, where you have sort of this move here, where you come back up, then you come back down in 3 before going back up. That could totally happen as well, right? And that would kind of be like another a W, X, and then a Y. I don't really like that a lot. I mean, I guess it could happen, but then that would be what? 1, 2, 1. All of this is 2, and now we're going in the third. So that's just another variation of this count. There's a couple different variations, right? So it could take time. Another, so the main idea would be this. So we're going to take a fib extension from here to the top of here to the bottom of here. So I want to hit this wave about $1.17 thereabout. So at the 1618, so right about there. So that would be the extension of this third wave. Now it can go a lot higher and it can come shorter, but that's just, you know, sort of the starting point here. So I'll get rid of that. So I'll say, okay, this is 1, 2, right? Now we're in the middle of 3. Then we get 4. Then we get 5. So then what does it become? Well, that could be sort of the third wave. Or that can be wave 1 of 3, which is, now it gets more sort of complex. I'm not going to really get into that. But essentially, let me just zoom out. Essentially, if this is the count right here, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 1. Then we come down for wave 2, right? Then this is a 1, 2, right? And in the 1, 2, now in the third wave, right? Now, if this is a 1, 2 of the third, then we're in the third. And in the third, the first wave of the third, you have this 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're starting that pump into the third wave, right? That could totally happen. Then you get 4, then you get 5, right? So then that whole thing becomes wave 3. I'm just drawing it at, I'm not drawing it any particular target. I'm just drawing it as a demonstration of the visual. So we have 1, 2, and this is 3. And then we get 4, and then we get 5. Right? So that would be mega bullish, right? It could take time. It could take months for that to happen. Obviously years, the way I have it drawn. But just to get through this third wave, it could take some time. And remember, we still have to worry about Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin's pumping higher and higher, right, it's harder for alts to go. So we kind of want Bitcoin to move up fast, you know, or consolidate, then move up. And then once it's done pumping, you want it to sort of, you know, chill out for a little bit. So there you go, guys. That's sort of the analysis part. That's the Elliott wave analysis. Now let's talk about the oscillators. Now I could turn on the RSI. I can turn on the 200 week. I mean, look at that. We just crossed back above the 200 week, which is always good. The EMA ribbon, which is really good. We have the bull market support band, which is even better. Look at that. Look at this. We broke, look at this. We, on a weekly chart, and this is what I talked about. We broke above the bull market support band. Look what happened. We came down, we back tested it. Look at this wick. We wicked off that thing like nobody's business. And then look at the following candle. The following candle wicked off of it again. Look at this candle right here. Look what it did. This is why I really like it. Look at this. Look at that wick. It came right through here and it wicked right off, almost perfectly pinpoint nailed it. And then as it got bought back up, look at the net result, right? And that's another reason too why I took some of my profit off of THETA, because it was so high away from its bull market support band. I took partial profit. So, yeah, Zach, you're late to the party, man. I've been online for a while. Okay. So, now let's look at total 3. So, total 3, what we want to see for total 3 is for it to get back above oh, that's why I was like, what's going on here? So let me draw the Fibonacci like this. So we got there to about right there. We want it to get through the 618, right, and the 702. So we still got quite some work to do. We're at the 50. We're sort of in that golden zone, right? So typically what happens when you get to these zones between the 618, between the 50, is you start to range in here, right? So we'll see, like I said, the market is in need of a correction. I wonder how Bitcoin will fare during that correction, right? You could see Bitcoin has not tested the bull market support band. That's not good. We want it to test the bull market support band so that we can continue momentum. Look what happened last time. Look, we tested it once, but look through the whole bull run. We didn't test it at all. We didn't get to test it here. We didn't get to test it here. And then it just collapsed on itself. So it didn't really last that long, right? People were like, hey, it just got started. But look at the other bull run. This is a beautiful bull run right here. Look at this. We broke above the bull market support band. We tested it. We tested it. We broke above again. We tested it. Test. We broke up again. Tested it. We tested it again. We tested it again. We tested it again, which allowed this monumental bull run. But the last bull run, look how short it is. It doesn't look that, powerful because it didn't test it. Now, I don't want that to happen again, right? Now, of course, Bitcoin can do whatever it wants, right? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We have a brand new all-time high in the price of Bitcoin. Like I said, what did I say in the last video? Or on the last week's video, like last week. What did I say last week? I said if we can get this weekly candle, I said the goal was for this weekly candle to close above that line. It broke above it. I said if that happens, then we can get some beautiful follow through. But the chances are we'll probably get a little bit of consolidation, right? Because look what happened the last time it broke out into a new all-time high. It took 1, 2, 3, it took 4 weeks. This time, it sliced right through it like butter. So that's incredibly bullish. Now you can say, well, the ETFs and all that stuff. Hey, whatever the case is, I'm happy for it. I just feel like, hey, if it gets too overextended, there's probably a pullback on the way. So we'll see how that works. So for the idea here is, let me put on XRP, or actually let me do this here. So how does XRP, what does the environment need to be? And I showed that in the last video, so I won't get into it too much. But a lot of people were complaining like, look at Bitcoin, it's at a brand new all-time high. Meanwhile, XRP ain't doing anything. In last video, I described why that is and all of that. I'm not going to get too much into it. But essentially, you have this, using THETA as an example, you have this distribution zone right here. So you can see Bitcoin's going up, right? What are the alts doing? They're doing nothing. They're going sideways. But then once Bitcoin gets to the top, that's when the alts catch up. So we have to ask ourselves, when is Bitcoin get to the top? If XRP starts exploding above $2 this week or next week, then that means we're probably very close to the top of Bitcoin, right? So that's why I kind of want it to wait a little bit. I don't want it to go too fast, too early. What I'm hoping for, right, and the same thing that's happened here, you could see Bitcoin's going up, alts are basically flat. And then once it starts to get to the all-time high, then it starts to break out. One of the things I said is, if we start to range in here, that will also allow alts to catch up. because that's what happened over here and also the last time, not with THETA, but many other alts. So here we go. Here's side by side, right? So here's Bitcoin on top, XRP on the bottom. You can see Bitcoin's going up, XRP sort of going sideways with a slanted tilt, right? And now, so a couple ways this can happen. And this is why crypto can be complicated, because you have to integrate Bitcoin into it. Whereas versus like if you look at the stock market, you know, like Coca-Cola stock or whatever, you just basically look at the stock and trade it. But with crypto, you kind of gotta know where Bitcoin is, the dollar, the stock market, and I guess with individual stocks as well. But it could be a little tricky. So, and that's the common misconception is, well, Bitcoin's breaking out into a new all-time high. XRP, other crypto, is barely getting going. What gives? And like I said, think about crypto like Bitcoin as the energy conductor, and all the altcoins are like little generators, right? They need to tap into Bitcoin's power supply. And again, that will change once we have utility, but we're still a ways away. So a couple ways that can this happen. We can continue breaking out, back test the all-time high, continue higher. If we range above this all-time high, it's going to look like maybe a big flat, right? Where we come down here and come down here, and then we go back down. That would be terrible, right? But if Bitcoin can get, let me take XRP off. If Bitcoin can clear this by at least a mile right in here, I mean, because we're barely getting there, right? So for this week's candle, this week's goal is we want to close engulfing, right? We want to close pretty big. Maybe we get like a three-way pullback and then a continuation. If we start to range in here, it might look like a flat, but I don't think so. I mean, obviously, it can hit that 4.236 extension and dump from the previous bull run that it never hit. But either way, I think if we consolidate in here, I think that's going to give a chance for like XRP, right? Maybe THETA. THETA went up quite a bit, so maybe looking for a little correction soon. Actually, let me just focus here on XRP. Let me take this off, and I'm just trying to give you a visual. So, for example, if Bitcoin starts to range in here, we could see some ranging in XRP too. But if it's sort of, with a bullish posture, like it's creating a bullish pennant or a bull flag or some type of, even distribution like over here, that can be the signal for this thing to really pop and catch up, right? Because if you go back in time, look what happened, right? XRP didn't explode until here. But look at, that was the top of Bitcoin. So look at that, right? So here's XRP. This was the first big mega candle breakout, right? But where was Bitcoin during that time? It was already at the end of its bull run. And then Bitcoin went down and down, and then XRP went up and up, right? And then what happened? And then once Bitcoin went down, see, it went all the way down, and then it went up in a retracement. So it had a crash and then a retrace. Crash and then a retrace. So if I put XRP up, XRP just went boom, 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 boom. And then once Bitcoin went into its retracement, that was when the final big blow off top occurred in XRP. So it's a little conflicting, right? Do you want Bitcoin, if you want XRP to break out and to rampage, then that means it's most likely the end of Bitcoin bull run. But if you want Bitcoin to continue going like this, look how long it was going. 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, right? And then on the 5th week, the end, that's when XRP started to go. And then it took 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? So it was like 4 weeks behind. So if that's the case, then let's go back over here, right? Let's go back over here, and we'll set it to scale here. If that's the case, then we want to see Bitcoin continuing to break out, right? And then once it gets, maybe 100,000, maybe 80 something thousand, at least higher than 75, right? Let's say it gets to 100K, and then it stalls out, and then it starts to range, and then maybe it's the end, right? Maybe it's the end of the third wave, because you have wave 1, wave 2, and now you're in wave 3. And then once wave 3 ends and you flag out for wave 4, that's when XRP starts its wave 3. So I'm just speculating. I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like happened last time. So there's a lot of different variants that can happen. The point of this video, the point of both, is to say that, hey, I think we are in a position of something remarkable happening, or maybe not. But I think I made my case on many different fronts. I mean, I've talked, what was it, like 50 minutes in the last video, and I think this video is over an hour. So we'll say like 2 hours talking about, the bullish case. Now, can you get? It's very hard. I don't know many YouTube content creators that can talk for 2 hours on one asset, maybe Bitcoin, because there's a lot to talk about, but on one asset, making a bullish case, and especially an asset that is boring and hasn't broken out, and it's really not done anything, right? So I gave myself a little pat on the back because I got a lot of information, and I'm still not done, but I'm not going to make the video too long. I can get into more details about it, but I don't want to bore you with all that. The point is, you can see, right, Bitcoin's going up, XRP's going sideways, right? But then Bitcoin starts to really go up, but then you have this sort of divergence here. But now that divergence is starting to snap back. So once we get maybe another high, maybe we consolidate now. Whatever the case may be with Bitcoin, I'm going to make a separate video on Bitcoin. I haven't even talked about Bitcoin breaking out into a new all-time high. I got to do a whole separate video on that. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Been talking for a while for about XRP. So I might do a Bitcoin update tomorrow, and we'll talk about all that stuff. But I just wanted to focus on XRP. But yes, XRP does depend on Bitcoin. So depending what Bitcoin does, if we continue breaking out, great. I think XRP is going to slowly grind. If we start to break out, then we consolidate and we start to range, just like over here, right? Look what happened to XRP when Bitcoin started to range. So here's Bitcoin here, this range, right? So Bitcoin came all the way up, and then as it's up here, look what happened to XRP. It freaking went really high. Now, it was only a retracement. It wasn't nothing spectacular, but look at this. It went up quite a bit, right? So, well, I got the Bitcoin chart, so I can't really measure it on here, but yeah, so it wasn't until Bitcoin went up and then it started to into distribution, or even reaccumulation, right? If it was reaccumulation, or simply just ranging, right? That's when the alts moon. That's when they go, is when Bitcoin goes sideways. So the question becomes, when does Bitcoin go sideways? When does Bitcoin go into distribution? Me personally, I don't want it to happen yet. I want Bitcoin to go as high as possible. Let's go to $500,000, even though I don't think that's happening. But let's say it gets to 100 or 200K. It's very hard for that to happen. I mean, think about Bitcoin's well above $1 trillion market cap. I don't even know what the market cap is right now, but it's very high. So the higher it goes, the harder it is to move the price because the more money it takes, right? It's like imagine throwing a rock inside a children's pool. It'll make pretty big waves, right? But then you take that same rock and you throw it in the ocean. You don't even notice it happened, right? So that's the difference between a small cap and a large cap. So we'll see what this week brings. I mean, like I said, isn't it funny? I made a video on Friday or Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I said, let's wait until Monday morning, right? I said, it looks like you could possibly use some more consolidation. But I said, I don't know yet. Let's wait till Monday morning because that's when we will get our answer. I said, Monday morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we will get our answer. And guess what? We sure in the hell's got it because look at this. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. And we'll get rid of XRP. And I'm going to talk more about this. But yeah, I don't really like it too much. It looks a little choppy, right? It looks like a 1, 2, looks like a 3-wave move. But you can also say it's an ascending triangle. You can say it's a 1, 2, 1, like, right, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could say it's a diagonal, right? With a throw over. And now you need a 3-way pullback. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bitcoin in the next video. But, yeah, it looks like it's struggling here. And usually when you break out into a new all-time high, usually you have some velocity. I don't think we have a lot of velocity because, again, we didn't spend enough time accumulating. I would have liked Bitcoin to just do this for like 30 days, maybe a month. Just do this, sideways, sideways. Be boring. Boring is good. We want boring. Just go sideways, be boring, then break out. Then you'll have a lot of momentum. But the fact that it broke out early gets me a little concerned. It makes me worried. It makes me think, okay, maybe we have another high, then we go into that range. For me, I wanted to get this over with, right? So it's up for debate. We'll see what happens. This thing can easily continue ripping to the upside, but hopefully a lot of that money cycles back into altcoins, and that's what usually happens as Bitcoin starts to range. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to wrap this video up. I mean, I can make like 10, like maybe 5 or 10 videos. If I wanted to, I can edit this video and make like 5 or 10 different videos, right? And then get more sort of monetization. But I don't want to do that. I kind of, and I would even get more views, more subscribers, but I kind of want to just make it one video. So the fact that I didn't do that and I made one video, I'd incredibly appreciate a like and a comment would really help out. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Because we've been talking about this. We broke above the bull market support band, right? We tested it. I could say we can easily come down. We tested it again, right? Same thing with theta. We test, and then once we confirm those two tests, right, then we start to accelerate. And this fractal, right, was the other fractal we had earlier. So we had this chop, 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 chop. We had a high, we had a dump, we had this hump, and then we had this breakout. So that's exactly what happened with this other fractal that I shared in the previous video right here. You can't really see it because I'm on a higher time frame, but it's a chop, chop, chop. We had a high, we had a crash, we had a hump, we came halfway down, and then boom, we had a pump. And so what then happened, right? So what happened? We came back to the bull market support band and we went sideways for some time before exploding to the upside. Is that going to happen again? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But for now, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you can take away one thing from this video, just think about XRP outside the box. Don't listen to the narratives. I mean, obviously, you got to listen to everything and figure out your own conclusion. But from a range perspective, look at XRP, right? Look how boring it is. It's just doing boom, boom, right? It's in this little box. Nobody's looking at it. And these are the beginnings of these big breakouts that happen, right? These big breakouts from these ranges. So let me show you one coin, Dogecoin. So Dogecoin is the same thing. Look at Dogecoin. It had a similar look to it, right? So it also, it had like a rise, a crash, it had a retrace. It came down for reaccumulation, and then it went sideways. Look at the base. Look at Dogecoin. Look at this base right here. Look at that range. Dogecoin was it made millionaires, guys. It made people instant millionaires. Now, I don't think it's going to happen anymore with Doge. I think that was it right there, right? I mean, you could see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it already had its fifth. So where is XRP? XRP is the equivalent of Dogecoin being right here, right? So that's what I'm saying. Here was the all-time high for XRP on the Doge chart, and here it is currently, right? So what happened when it broke the all-time high? It went crazy. That's the equivalent of XRP hitting like $50 or $60. I don't think that's going to happen, but look, Dogecoin did it. Maybe XRP can do it. But even if it didn't do it, at least it can get to like what, $5, $8, even up to $10, right? I mean, if Dogecoin can do that, I think XRP can get at least a fraction of that, right? But here's the biggest thing I want you to take away. What led to the biggest Doge bull run in history? This bull run was a massive bull run. It went from here. Let me go back up. It went up almost 70,000%. That's incredible. That's unbelievable. That made people millionaires. And where did it come from? Where did it come from? Here's the grand finale. It came from a sideways base. It came from this structure here. And this is the same structure as XRP. It just hasn't broken out yet. So that's what I'm saying. So maybe it doesn't break out. But I made so many points of why the probability of it happening is very, very high. And I didn't even get to talk about Ripple and the company Ripple and what they're doing with derivatives potentially, right? What they're doing with other types of things that I won't talk about. But man, and then also look at this. You have a cup, you have a handle, right? I mean, look at that. You have a cup and handle right there. So, I mean, that the biggest thing, like I said, is look at this range. It's the same range as Dogecoin. When Dogecoin broke this high, it went up 70,000%. It went up. That's insane. So let me put 70,000% here. I don't think that's going to happen, right? Because that would put it at what? That would put it at $3.8 trillion market cap. I don't think that's possible. Maybe it is, right? Because you got to understand, XRP is already at a $40 billion market cap. How high can it go? I think it could go pretty high, right? So let's pull a Fibonacci on here. And we'll come down here. So the 4.236, so a $13 XRP is around $521 billion. I think that's possible. I think that's very possible. I think we can hit that, especially everything going on. But here's the part that I didn't talk about. XRP has ammunition. What do I mean by that? Because we have the lawsuit, right? That's potentially going to end sometime this year. That can really have a significant impact on price. Look at now we're at 40 billion, right? And then what else? We also have a Ripple IPO, which is huge, right? No other crypto company has IPO'd, I don't think. I know Coinbase did, but that's an exchange. I'm talking about a company, right? I mean, XRP is great, but the secret sauce is Ripple, right? And you can say, yeah, but the Ripple people and all their clients, they don't use XRP. No, but they use the XRP ledger. And a lot of them do use XRP. And the more adoption you get for the ledger, the more adoption you get for XRP. And it's organic. Like I go back to Mark Cuban, right? You want to grow things organically. So, man, I've been rambling on for a long time. And when I got XRP on my mind, and when XRP is starting to move, I can tell you a lot. And I haven't even talked about all the fundamental aspects and all the connections of the central banks, and people who look, going back to the OG digital asset investor. His channel. I think his channel was even better. Back over in 20 before the SEC lawsuit. So like back in 2019 and 2020, he would talk a lot about like the resumes of Ripple, the connections, between the board members and between certain central banks and between the politicians and governments and things. And it was just incredible and fascinating. Now, I'm not agreeing with all that stuff. I'm not saying that's all whatever. I'm just saying, hey, add that to the pile that I already talked about. You got. So yeah, there's some excitement, right? We popped up, from the bull market support band, about 20%. That's pretty good, right? It's not beautiful, but hey, and maybe this thing, like I said, maybe this comes all the way back down, right? That's what XRP does. It likes to torture you. We broke above the downward resistance line. We broke above the parallel resistance line, or horizontal resistance line. So maybe this thing comes all the way back down and we back test 60, even low as maybe 63 cents. This thing can come all the way back down to 63 cents and back test, sort of play around before continuing higher. And then what would that be, guys? That would be a 1-2-1-2, super bullish, right? So usually when you have these big impulses, it's followed by a long sort of correction, unless we just flag out and continue higher. I mean, another thing too, when you like compare it to Solana, right? Look how far away it is from its bull market support band. Now you go back down to XRP. I mean, it barely back tested its bull market support band. That's why I said I'm interested in coins that are around it, right? So if I go to the 5-minute chart, what's happening here? It looks a little sort of, maybe you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe some type of falling wedge or rising wedge. Then you have a 3-way pullback, right? And then maybe we continue higher, right? Or it's part of a bigger correction, which you have maybe an A, B, and a C, followed by another A, B, C, right? Something like that. That's why, the small time frames are difficult to gauge. But yeah, it looks like a rising wedge with a 3-way pullback. Let's continue higher. If not, then we can back test 63 cents. Or, like I always say, here's the wave right here. So cut the wave in half. 65, 67 cents. Sometimes that's where it happens. Or you can pull a Fibonacci from here to here. Just talking about if you wanted to buy a pullback, if a pullback comes, at least to the 50%, 68 cents to 66 cents to 618, right? Don't really want to fall lower than that according to the wave. Now, if it is going to correct longer, we could come down and back test, right? So at the end of the day, you just got to do your own research. Don't buy XRP because I said so, because I did not say that. Always do financial advice. I bought XRP because of what I think. Doesn't mean you should, right? So let me know in the comments, what do you think XRP is going to go, right? We had a big 20% pump today. I thought, hey, it's Monday. We pumped. I'm going to talk about XRP. That doesn't mean we're going to break out tomorrow or next week or even in the coming weeks. I think it's coming. It's very hard to know when. Timing is always very difficult, right? So, don't FOMO. You just gotta, protect yourself. So I think that'll do it for this video. If you wanted to support the channel, you can always hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And always drop a comment. It really helps out. But if you wanted to leave a tip in the tip jar, here are 4 addresses you can scan with your phone. I appreciate anything. It does take some work getting these out, and it does take a lot of my time. I enjoy doing it, and I want to do it. I want to help people. But if you want to support the channel, you can drop in a tip there. I don't really do like YouTube super chats or super thanks, right? Because then you get all this tax thing, and then you get more like, YouTube essentially takes a lot of your, I think they take what, like 35%. So anytime you leave a super chat to somebody, I've done it many times, and I support the channel, different channels, and I like it, right? But they take a lot of the profit, and I think that's a little messed up because YouTube already makes a killing on ads and other things. So yeah, if you wanted to leave a tip, it would be very appreciative. If not, no big deal. Just hit that like button, and that would be great for me. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. Drop a comment if you want me to take a look at some altcoins, and I can add it to the list of the next episode of Rapid Fire. So every week I'll do a rapid fire session. So I basically just go through, maybe 10 to 20 different altcoins, looking at their structure, figuring out where they could potentially be and where they could be heading. Yeah, so I will catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, and always protect yourself and your position. Cheers.